Davies. We'll get someone around there right away. Central calling car 750.
Car 7 receiving Central.
Yes, 750. There's been a burglar disturbed at 11 O'Hara Road. And Mrs. Davies is a complainant. Can you attend, please?
Roger, Central, on my way now, over.
CO 7837. Your name's Miss Steele, 1 Tasman Street. Right, we'll have somebody look at that, Mr. Steele.
CO 7837, 1965, Cortina, white, stolen from Auckland. Roger, thank you.
75% of police work is pure routine. Now, in the main offices, for instance in Wellington Police Headquarters, files must be kept, records are kept, records of fingerprints, and all this is routine work. Even inquiries that are carried out by CIB and by uniformed policemen, in most cases it's a matter of general routine work. Success is gained only by hard work, by these routine inquiries I've talked about, and perhaps at times by a little bit of luck.
Even taking into consideration the current increase in crime, New Zealanders can lay claim to being an uncommonly law-abiding people. All sorts of figures can be quoted to prove this. Crimes that are common in other countries are often quite rare here. Although this may be due to a number of factors, including geographic isolation, the easy relationship between the public and the police is the most important. We haven't adopted the practice of treating the police as a people apart, to be feared by some and avoided by all. Also, our police have the advantage of being able to leave the enforcement of traffic regulations to regional traffic departments.
Yes, Mac. I've just had a look at this cheque you sent down. It's definitely a forgery. Whoever's been responsible has had a copy to work from. Trace model has left marks on the cheque.
Thanks, John. Good. You let me have your report in due course. Right. Goodbye. Doesn't look as though you'll be required, Stan.
Okay.
Thanks.
To most people, the man on the beat has always been the strong arm of the law, the man you can run to for help, whose uniform and measured tread spell reassurance to those in need of it.
I joined the police mainly, I think, because it's one of those things you think of as a small boy. You look up, it's all glamour. I want to be a policeman when I grow up. The idea just kept in the back of my mind all the way through, right through school and that. And I came in and saw the recruiting officer, and the next thing I knew, I was in. And that was it. The department gives a certain set amount of time off for you to go up and attend lectures and sit the university exams. There are now quite a few. This year there'll be about a dozen policemen from Wellington attending university part-time, and others in other centres. The cadet system, where you start off out there at 17, you do 2 years. I was a cadet out there. You graduate at 19 and you're very young and raw for a while from the beat, but you soon pick things up and it doesn't take long to get into the swing of things. One of the NCOs out there told us before we left, he said there's no job that will put an old head on young shoulders quicker than the policeman on the beat.
Constable Cull. Present. Beat E. Constable Marsden. Present. He'll be watch housekeeper tomorrow. Constable Brew. Present. Beat D. Constable Russell. Present. Beat C. Constable Claridge. Present. Beat B. Constable Taylor. Present. Beat A. Producer appointments. Leisure appointment. Section, right turn. Quick badge.
The things that you're taught at Trentham during your course out there are very valuable to always be kept in the back of your mind. And if you stick to it, you can't generally go wrong. And even if it's quiet, you often stand in a doorway, just back off the street at an intersection, keeping your eyes out for what's going past and that. And it's amazing what you sometimes notice. You know, people go past, they don't know you're there, but you notice them.
Cut out the language, right? I know it's where nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, very quiet. How's things? Rest of the town pretty quiet? Oh, that's good. What do you make the time? 70 minutes. 70 minutes. Oh, thanks. I'm right. Well, we'll see you later then. Cherry.
Good morning, sir.
Look, I got a souvenir here from the young men. Do you think you can take it for us?
You want to surrender it unconditionally, do you?
Yeah, it's too much trouble.
Very good, we'll arrange that. Here's your receipt, sir. We'll fix that.
Good. Thanks a lot.
Here we are, another one for you. Want to get rid of this, do you? That's right. I'll give you a receipt for it.
In no single instance is the public respect for law enforcement more clearly indicated than in the arms amnesties. Without pressure and with only a receipt as payment, people are voluntarily handing in firearms that might otherwise quite possibly involve them in some future incident.
To summarise then, remember that all persons have the right to demonstrate, provided that they do so lawfully. The police objective is simply to impartially maintain law and order. Although our paramount duty is to ensure the safety of the distinguished visitor, we must also protect the general public and indeed the demonstrators themselves. You must exercise the greatest tact and tolerance, remaining calm and confident at all times. You should ignore any behaviour on the part of the demonstrators which does not threaten good order. If you do have to make arrests for breaches of the law, then do so firmly and decisively, using the minimum amount necessary. Above all, be tolerant at all times.
For the criminal, getting out of New Zealand isn't just a question of crossing a border. It means taking an aircraft or going by sea, both involving a high degree of risk. Where flying's concerned, only the main airports cater to overseas flights, and the risk of capture can become a certainty.
People don't like being restricted in any of their activities. People don't like being told they can't do so-and-so. And this, of course, is one of the functions of the police when offences are being committed. And I think this very fact itself is one of the reasons why people say, well, he's a so-and-so cop.
I don't like the cops. They stick their nose in a bit. They just out of school like anyone else, about 19. I don't see how they can take responsibility of controlling people. When you're at a dance or some function, you're all having a great time, and the cop walks in, he sort of looks around as though everyone's a criminal or underage drinking or something. Sort of spoils it a bit, the atmosphere. Everything goes flop.
When you're out on patrol, you're looking for anything unusual, anything that happens. If you see something that's just not right, well, you stop and have a look around. And after a while, you soon get to know what is right and what's wrong. You soon get to know the movements of people at that time of the night, movements of cars and all that sort of thing. You soon get to know a few of the cars around that belong to a suspicious type of person.
You might get a call to go to a job. You don't know what it's going to be until you get there. It might be an innocent thing like some youths falling around, and when you get there, there might be bottles whizzing through the air and all sorts of things. But on the other hand, there may be a serious assault, and when you get there, everybody's gone.
It's very much up to the patrol driver and observer themselves as to where they go. If you've got an area where there's a spate of burglaries or a lot of trouble, you pay more attention to that than you do possibly to the other area. But you still do the other area. I mean, if there was a set procedure, people would soon get to know about it.
So they've looked in?
Yep.
That's enough, yeah.
Central 1091.
1091 receiving, over.
Yes, would you go to Chancery Street, assist 1089 rear car converter?
Yes, ETA 20 seconds, over.
Central 740.
740 receiving.
Yes, would you go to Chancery Street, also assist 1091, 1089?
Roger, on the way.
Yes, sir. Your name and address, please? Mr. Jackson. Senior burglar alarm sounding 75 Green Lane Road.
Good, thank you, Constable. Central 888.
888 receiving, over.
Yes, silent alarm sounding 75 Green Lane Road, over.
As a person committed to law enforcement, the policeman needs all the goodwill he can get. Yet little that he does well and to the benefit of the community is ever brought to the public's notice, excepting as a news item. The long hours, the danger, the moments of glory and the hours of tedium can only be appreciated where they are shared.
The main reason for the establishment of the wet canteens was to give the police personnel some privacy while they were drinking, and to protect them from the snide remarks which were heard from time to time when they knew police were drinking in a particular hotel. On the other hand, quite a few members still drink privately in hotels, and this is very necessary to keep in contact with the people who frequent hotels.
If I heard a remark from behind me or somewhere when I was in a hotel, oh, he's a cop, you can smell him, this is quite often a remark made, it sort of makes me wary and sort of kick the people beside me and say, you know, just hush up, sort of. I don't go there, I don't spout the fact that I'm a police officer, not that I'm ashamed of it or anything, but I mean there's a time and place for everything. And it doesn't pay you to stick your nose in where it's not wanted.
Well, I try not to think it's been a policeman's life. I would sooner just be the same as everybody else of today. I think if you start to think as yourself as being a policeman's wife, you're going to cut yourself off from a lot of things. I like to just accept life as it comes. For me, it has helped me meet people, meet a lot more people than what I thought I'd ever meet, actually, and in different walks of life, too. he's going somewhere and he can't tell me, well, I always think, well, his bosses know, somebody knows, and if I'm to know, I would know. If they're working at nights and they have not come home and maybe you've waited till 12 and you know they're going to be a bit late, but when it gets towards 3 or something in the morning and you still haven't heard, then you start to worry a bit.
Fingerprints, as a means of criminal identification, are indispensable in combating crime. They are the most potent factor in obtaining the apprehension of an offender who might otherwise escape arrest and continue his criminal activities indefinitely. And from extensive records, fingerprints are used not only as a means of establishing an offender's guilt, they are also used as a means of establishing a person's innocence. The job of a fingerprint expert is made so much easier when he is dealing with a well-taken set of fingerprints. I will now demonstrate to you the correct method of obtaining a set of fingerprints. Constable Robinson. Start with your right hand and right thumb. Rolling it from nail edge to nail edge. If we can include the whole of the area.
Cadets, most of them come to us direct from post-primary schools. They're boys of 17 years of age. But with the older one, the recruits, they come to us from every walk of life. We have bank tellers, farmers, shearers, university students, clerks, and so on. Well, each year we have about 250 recruits and cadets, and they're here from 3 months up to a total of 19 months. During these courses, we'd lose roughly 10%. 4% decide of their own volition that they're not suitable for police work, and up to 6% don't make the grade. They fail in examinations, and of course they don't graduate.
This directly or indirectly is quite interesting. Give me an example of applying force directly, a common example of applying force directly to the person. Mr. Rutherford?
Punching someone.
Yes, a straight-out punch. What about the degree of force? We haven't had any mention yet of degree of force. Does it have to be a particularly heavy blow? What do you think here, Mr. Toomer?
Only sufficient force to cause him some inconvenience.
Some inconvenience. What would be the case of a young man walking up to a young lady he met in the street and kissing her? Would that be an assault?
Yes.
No injury caused? It would be an assault. Yes, of course it would.
So I stop with the forearm there, and then I step on knock the arm on price pressure at the elbow. There. Now there's the one. Down he goes flat. All right. Now this time we'll get someone to get a bar, and I am down. We'll try the thing this time with the implement. Are you ready?
Of course, most of them join with the idea of being a member of the CIB. Most civilians think that police work generally is crime detection. Well, there's considerable emphasis at the school on the practical side of police work. When an offence is talked about in the classroom, instructors generally arrange some type of demonstration, and this is a simulation of the real thing.
Now, at this stage, Constable Matheson has felt the pulse and is of the opinion that life's extinct. Constable Guy will now go and get a doctor
while Mr. Matheson looks for a means of identification of the motorcyclist. Dr. Miller has now arrived at the scene and will examine the motorcyclist. You'll also find the police photographer has arrived and will take general shots of the scene, the motorcycle and the vehicle.
Although it's not actually the true to life, recruits find that they can learn far more easily by watching things being done by a member of the class. Stand easy. Cadet Walker, I understand you wish to resign from the service.
Yes, sir. I don't feel suited to a police career.
What in particular has brought about this decision?
Well, sir, I don't feel I've got the right temperament for the police work.
Have you discussed this matter with your parents?
Yes, sir, I have.
And what do they say about your resigning?
Well, they want me to continue with cadet training, sir. They say the decision's up to me. I have a letter here approving my resignation.
Thank you. Well, as your parents say, you are the one to make the final decision. And if you feel that your temperament is not suited to police work, then of course you'd be better in other employment.
Richard John Nelson. Richard John Nelson.
Everyone who enters the training school has had full inquiries made into his own background, into his character, the character of his family, and so on. Firstly, and most important, he must be a person of good character. This is most important. He must be a person who's acceptable to members of the public.
Yes, Your Worship, please.
He has to be a person who has the quality of perseverance, and this is particularly so in the CIB, where most of the inquiries undertaken are most laborious and painstaking.
No money. He has been sleeping as of late in the Karori Cemetery. He could offer no reasonable excuse or explanation for his behaviour. I call as my first witness Constable Sweeten.
Do you swear by Almighty God that the evidence you're about to give touching the matter now before the court should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Despite the most stringent inquiries that are made, some people do join who have qualities that are undesirable in a policeman. Sooner or later, of course, these are found out, and the department are quite... But there's no particular type who makes a policeman. Well, I always feel that if a policeman keeps entirely to himself and mixes only with other members of the service, he's going to isolate himself from them. And this is most undesirable. A policeman should always be, in his off-duty hours at least, a member of the public.
A member of the public. There's a strangely wistful note in this assurance. But does the wearing of the blue, in fact, make its wearer a person apart? To these earnest young people striding into a world of confused loyalties, the way is clear. Their duty is to the law and to the great unknowing public.